Hey everybody, this is RJ Thompson joining you for another episode of the City View podcast, and I'm joined today by Ryan Martino of Martino Motorsports. Pardon me. I mean, let's be real. It's your show anyway. Don't tell your dad, right?
That's right.
Say hello.
Hello, everybody.
And say hello to everyone online.
Hello, everybody.
We're sitting in, let me dress the scenery here for you, dress up the environment. So we're sitting in Phelps Hall in the offices of the Regional and Economic Development Initiative. We're on the second floor in the conference room, and if you take a look around, you see a bunch of maps, and it's very vanilla in here, very plain. So hopefully our conversation will add some color to the room. And we're also joined by three of my design students. You guys can, or rather you girls can say hello.
Hello.
Okay. They are junior podcast hosts in training. So, Ryan, I don't know a whole lot about you or what you do other than the obvious. Why don't you start us at the top, take us to the beginning. Who are you, what do you do, and how did you get involved in what it is that you do?
Okay, my name is Ryan Martino. Some say the better looking half of Martino Motorsports, but that's up.
I've heard that.
But my dad and I have an NHRA Top Dragster race program out of Youngstown, Ohio. We travel and compete in a circuit mainly between April through October in various venues throughout the East Coast and Midwest. Even though the NHRA offers races all the way from Florida all the way to California, we try to pick our best 8 claims strategic for our race budget for the year within 12 to 15 hours of our house. And 2 of those stops are actually in Ohio, which we claim our home tracks up in Sandusky at Norwalk and Summit Motorsports Park, and in Columbus at National Trail Raceway. So we travel and compete against competitors from all over the world. And it's an honor to do that out of Youngstown, Ohio, which is our home base, where our home base for this race program has been since day one, and where it's always going to be.
How long have you been racing?
My dad's been racing since when he turned 16 in 1970. That probably gives his age away a little bit. And I've been racing my entire life. I grew up at the racetrack with my dad. Back when I was born, I was at the racetrack. The next day probably. Can't remember that far back. But throughout my younger years, I was running through the pits, didn't really realize what was going on at the racetrack, and just over the years become to know that my dad's a threat in drag racing and how important he is to the drag racing industry and how good of a driver he is. I mean, he's a well-dressed, well-accomplished driver, won every award or accomplishment he could ever accomplish in his life, and just continues to do it. In fact, this year, we're about to wrap up our 2016 race season at NHRA competition, and we're going to finish in the top 5 in one of the toughest divisions NHRA offers, which is quite the honor. Had a couple whacks at number 1 and ended up losing by 0.003 of a second or 0.004 of a second, which is, you can't even put on a ruler. But it's just one of those years when the luck falls your way, it's your year, and it just wasn't our year. And I'll tell you what, next year we're going to be back for revenge, and we're going for that number 1 spot.
Vengeance is yours.
That's right.
So you said your dad's, did you say he's well-dressed?
Well dressed is what most people say when they're really accomplished. Like everybody tell you, they won this award and that award. He's pretty good dressed, although his boot-cut leg jeans are turning into skinny jeans, where we can tell people, hey, those are just skinnies, don't worry about it.
Well, the reason why I ask is you've got a suit and tie on, which is probably not customary attire for a drag racer. So what else do you do?
Well, most people say I'm the man of many capes. During the day, I work 8 to 4:30 for the Honorable R. Scott Krischbaum as a bailiff. And from that point on, when I leave work, I'm dedicated to this race program. Sometimes they'll put me up till 2 or 3 in the morning, working with correspondence with the media, sponsor obligations, and some fans, have inquiry of us. We're always available on our social media sources, which have just been a great asset to us for reaching out to people that have left the area or we haven't seen in years. They've been able to reconnect with us, and some of those people are from all around the world, which is, people think we're just some race team from Youngstown, Ohio, but on a scale of things, if you look at the media attention we receive and the respect we receive week in and week out all over the country, we're worldwide.
Yeah, you've got a global brand for sure. I've seen the retweets. blowing up my phone. And that's great for you guys, and congratulations on that. That's good. You know, if you know anything about social media, particularly brand awareness and, you know, getting those followers, it takes a lot of work and dedication to get to that point. A lot of time. And good for you guys for hitting that peak.
Yeah, some of our media sources have actually reached out to us for tips on how to, you know, tips for other racers or tips for their organization in general on just how to stay active in it. And our thoughts and feelings are, if our sponsors and associates and fans are putting in the effort to show their support for our race team, we owe it to them to at least let them know what's going on, what we're doing, and our sponsors to give them daily exposure. I mean, it's not fair if they're putting investment in our race program where we're going out, you know, 2 or 3 times a month racing, and with the chances of somebody seeing the car with their name on it, we want to shove that product down people's throats, for a better lack of terms, and put their brand in people's eyes so that when they go to the market to purchase something, or if they go online to purchase a product and there's a couple of choices, that we give them the best opportunity to get that sale.
So, switching gears a little bit, I want to know, what was your first race like?
First race?
Yeah.
It's pretty intense. The first time I got behind of a wheel, most people step up through the ranks. They offer different, I guess they offer a junior dragster race program that puts kids 8 years old up to 16 years old and behind one of these go-kart engine drag cars. And when I was becoming 15 to 16 years old, they just come out with these junior dragsters. So my dad's like, instead of spending, you know, the money to put one of these cars together, which would have been $4 or $5 grand at the time, let's buy a street car and race a street car. Well, we were so involved with our race program on the NHRA and IHRA circuit that we didn't really have time to get behind the wheel, and I was fine with that. So we kind of put that off for a couple of years, and then I ended up getting a scholarship to Youngstown State University to play football for Coach Jim Tressel. And because the NCAA strict policies, it was kind of hesitant to get behind the wheel because the university just invested in me as a player and a scholar athlete. So kind of put that away, and then towards the end of my junior year, people were just kept approaching me, you gotta get behind the wheel of one of these cars, you know, it's your time, it's your time. So I convinced Coach Haycock, who took over for Coach Tressel, to let me get a whack at this. So I went out there and got behind the wheel behind one of these cars, and you know, my dad's kind of in the shadows, you know, telling you like, yeah, you watch out for this, watch out for that. But I've grown up my whole life with this race car and the race environment. So when I got behind the wheel, it was like a glove. I just strapped
Second nature.
Right.
Yeah.
It was instinct. I got behind the wheel, and just by watching my dad over the year and seeing how good of a driver he was, I was able just to strap in and go right down the track with no issues. Now, most people get behind the wheel of a street car and go down the racetrack. Well, my first trip down the racetrack was behind the wheel of an 8-second, 160-mile-an-hour track. So that was a real eye-opener, and you know, I'm glad I got to do it that way. And then as time goes on, you know, the seat opens up, and I get to get behind the wheel of our dragster, which goes 6 seconds, about 630s at 215 to 220 mile an hour and a quarter mile.
Wow. And
it's just an incredible feeling to get behind the wheel of that car.
I'm trying to process that, or, you know, really trying to find a point of relation. Like, all I can think of is like riding a roller coaster.
It's just like that. It's almost like if you've ever been in an airplane where you're on a runway and you know everybody's preparing for takeoff and things starts rolling and it just goes.
Feel that pressure on your chest, the force.
It's just like that feeling, but instead of it taking off, it just continues to just pull you to the ground. Just keeps. I think when we launched that car, it's 3.5 Gs. Mm-hmm. I think when the space shuttle launches, it's like 3.2 or 3.3 Gs.
Wow.
And both wheels are in the air, the tires are shaking, and both wheels are in the air. You can't steer it, so you got to hope it goes straight. And then by the time it touches down, you covered 60 foot in less than a second. You're hitting half track at about 175, 180 mile an hour, and before you know it, you got to get this thing stopped. So a half mile is shut down at 225s. It comes quick.
Yeah. I just had a visual where you're driving a space shuttle down Wick Avenue. It's just laying waste to everything. When was that first race? What year?
I think I got my license in 2002.
Okay.
Yep, and I did it locally at Quaker City Raceway in Salem, Ohio.
You have to get a separate license for that?
You have to go through the whole licensing process. You have to make incremental passes, and you have to have 3 observers who are licensed in your class of competition observe And what was unique about that was when I upgraded my license to this advanced TT status to go 200 some mile an hour, I had my dad, one of our close friends, Rick Forsh, and the track promoter, who's also licensed, sign off on my license. It was kind of cool to have my dad and this guy that I watched growing up and kind of looked at for tips and see how their winning ways were, and just transferred it over. And then those guys sign off my license is quite the honor.
Yeah, that's awesome. Did you frame it?
Well,
Take a picture of it and then frame the picture?
yeah.
Yeah. Who's the body that accredits that license?
The license is NHRA. And
NHRA,
that's
okay.
our sanctioning body. It's like the NFL, the NBA, the NCAA. It's our playground. We got to play under their rules, and
For sure.
and they're very strict about safety, and which they should be. And just the competition level is, it's the greatest competition level on the planet.
On that note of safety, what do you have to do to make sure you're strapped in properly and secure? Like, what's that process like?
The process to get in that car it's probably a 5 to 10 minute process. And our sponsors, RGS Safety and Bell Helmets, provide us with the very best of safety equipment. In the event that something will go wrong, we're protected as long as we can. But you have to put on a fire suit, which is layered for just safety in case you catch on fire out there. It's Dash 15 suit, which means I think it will withstand extreme heat fire for 15 seconds without melting.
Okay.
So everything has to be certified. You got to put on fire retardant shoes, jacket, pants, gloves, a head sock, which makes you look like a ninja when you get behind the wheel. You get this head sock on, and then the helmet, and then there's a Hans device which keeps your neck protected. And just getting in the car, you get half dressed, and then you put the helmet and the Hans device, and you put a 5-point harness on, which go over your shoulders, a cross strap, and 2 hip straps. And then just getting those belts tightened. I have to help my dad. My dad's to help me get those belts tightened. So it's difficult to reach. And you have arm restraints, which would keep your hand in the cockpit in case the car would flip over. So you got to make sure that you can't pick your hands up past the steering wheel for safety purposes, so you can't reach.
So you can barely move. I mean, you only have set finite degrees to.
Oh yeah, you're in a real small area. It's like a cockpit, like of a space shuttle. And then the hardest part is when it's 100 degrees outside, the track temperatures are 140 degrees, and the first thing you want to do when you get off the track is between the media stick and the microphone right in your face, and you're just, just got done going on track. It's that hot. The hardest part is getting out of that car or getting your helmet off so you get that interview on. So it's like, you got to be ready for everything at any second. I mean, things happen so quick in our sport. We're winning and losing by 10,000ths of a second, thousandths of a second. And we're out there, on a track you're there a whole weekend for 3 or 4 days at this race, and you're only in that car for 6 seconds at a time. It's like,
Right.
It's really making sense. NASCAR, they get to drive around in circles and look like idiots for 4 or 5 hours.
But tell me how you really feel about NASCAR, Ryan.
Yeah. It takes a lot of, to be a racer, it takes you got to be able to withstand the heat. You got to be able to withstand what that car is going to do to you. And there's a lot of people in our sport that are small, that are big, muscular. So it's not like everybody can drive a race car, but it takes a real racer to race a car.
Right. Yeah, you still have to have the talent for it, absolutely. So, pardon me, with that being said, have you considered doing any other type of racing, or it's just drag racing and that's it?
We drove stock cars. We were in a celebrity go-kart race a couple years back in Indy, so we got to drive actually a track that the IndyCar drivers train on. It was a bi-level 40 or 50 mile an hour go-kart track, and that's fun. So, anybody out there listening that has anything with a motor in it, I'm willing to drive it. My dad's willing to drive it. So NASCAR, IndyCar, whatever, willing to give it all a shot.
Jet ski racing.
Let's get it on.
Yeah, but let's get some stunt skis where you have to kneel down instead of sit.
We're always good for competition. Anything that there's something on the line, we always like to strive for winning, and it's something that's in our nature for being from Youngstown.
Mm-hmm. So your season's almost up. You've got roughly a month left.
And we're just winding down now. We have our 8 claims in, so it's kind of, we claimed them early just so we can get it in. It's kind of like a golfer, the first half of the groups get to turn their scorecards in first and let the other guys feel some heat. So we put a good point spread out this year, and we're confident that we're going to remain in the top 5 and maybe even the top 3. So we're just waiting to see how the ducks fall in place.
Other than bragging rights, what do you get for being in the top 3? Is there some monetary prize attached to that, or
It's mainly just pride. I mean, for what
Just
you
pride,
put into
yeah.
sport, it doesn't really give you much out of it financially. I mean, we're investing so much money in this race program just to be competitive, and you know, some of the guys you race with run with $1 million budgets, and we're on a real small budget that my dad and I have to work 40 plus hours a week just to maintain, so we go to the track the next time. We have very generous associates involved with our race program, but we're always looking for somebody to help us. Just to give you a ballpark idea, just to pull out of the driveway to go on these races, it's going to cost us anywhere between $1,000 and $1,500 to put our car on a track, and that's just a good weekend where nothing breaks or we don't have any expenses incurred. Like
right?
the last race, we went to put our awning out on the motorhome because we travel with the motorhome and the race car trailer, and the awning wouldn't go out, so that's an expense to fix that you need to get back in line.
Right.
You don't want your awning falling out at 70 mile an hour.
No. No, certainly not. You tow the car?
We tow the car. It's a truck and trailer. We tow in a motorhome, as most racers do. It's a lot easier for us to stay at the track because everything's subject to change with the NHRA. I mean, we could be on a set schedule, and here comes the rain, or here comes an unforeseen delay in the racetrack, and then we're there late at night. It's just refreshing to sleep out at the track and wake up, get a shower, and go at the day's activities.
Where's your next destination?
Next destination, we're going to be probably testing a new engine combination coming up in the next couple of weeks in Norwalk, and we had talked about going to Virginia in 2 weeks for the PDRA race down there.
Okay. Is that the week of the? That's you're gonna be down in Virginia the week of the 20th. I'll see you there.
Probably right around there, whenever that second or third week in Virginia is.
Okay. So we've spoken before the podcast, and you're definitely an advocate for Youngstown. You've got Youngstown pride through and through. Can you talk a little bit about your love for Youngstown and what your racing program means to Youngstown and vice versa?
Yeah, that's not a problem at all. We're big fans of Youngstown, and you know it's a key part of our race program. We contribute a lot of our success to being from Youngstown. Youngstown, Ohio is it's the best place on the planet to be, and I can tell you that. And everybody that knows us knows we're from Youngstown. We say that with pride. And guys you race with, they're from Louisville, Kentucky. They're from Evansville, Indiana. They're from Chicago, Illinois. They're not proud of their hometown. I mean, we're this race team from. They don't even say where they're from. They're just we're this race team. Well, every time we say our name, it's always about Youngstown, Ohio. It's people don't even have to ask where have to ask where we're from. They know. And we say that with confidence, and most people from Youngstown do too. When I was a kid, I would stay up late with my dad. You do the pay-per-view fights with Boom Boom, and just when Boom Boom won their first fight and he won the title, and it was like, this is for Youngstown, and it just gives you the chills watching that. And you see Pavlik win the fights. I got to see Pavlik maintain the championship here in Youngstown. Just to see that championship level. Youngstown's got a horse in that race, and then you see Youngstown State football in the 90s, and Youngstown's known for winning, and it's not just about athletics, it's about businesses that win, it's about people who win, it's about, every aspect of life in Youngstown. And our food is just incredible in Youngstown. People, we bring food from Youngstown on the road with us to races, and they're like Chicago, got the best pizza. Nobody's got pizza like Youngstown. I mean, every corner they got a pizza shop, and it's all good. So we bring food with us on the road, and people are usually tackling us for the first slice of pizza. There's, we're on the grill cooking sausage, like the Russo sausage or something from Catullo's, and they're fighting. They smell that, they smell that Youngstown cooking in the air, and they're always lining up. But Youngstown,
you guys should tow a food truck behind the car.
I bet you we probably make more money with the food truck than we would with the race car.
Maybe, but maybe when the racing's over, which will hopefully be never, but should it end, you can go to these different places and sell a Youngstown food truck.
Absolutely,
Yeah.
And then Youngstown, it's just something different about a person from Youngstown. They're all hardworking. Everybody works like they got a chip on their shoulder, and they don't know the stop of working. I mean, everybody in this community works hard, and the community got a bad rap. Like, oh, it's crime. Well, crime's everywhere, and what Mayor McNally's done with the city in the last couple of years when he turned over to mayor, It would, Robin Lees is doing as police chief, has cut this crime down. Our judicial system really cracking down on crime, and our crimes, Youngstown's a safe place to be. I bring, our sponsors in town for meetings, or I bring friends and family from all over the country, all over the world to Youngstown. Like, there's nothing to be scared about,
Right.
It's just a safe place to be. Everybody welcomes you. It's incredible. People say that all the time. They're like, this is a great place to call home. I said, no kidding, that's why we're here. I mean, we can go. When I left Youngstown State University, I could have went anywhere, across the United States to get a job. Well, I chose to stay here. This is the place where I want to raise my family. This is the place where I want to stay with my family. It just has so much to offer. I mean, businesses are starting to realize that. We get the #1 business incubator on the planet. We got so many business opportunities in the area that are growing through the Youngstown incubator. I think all these magazines like Forbes and all these top-rated magazines that are worldwide publications are saying this is the best place to raise a family, and it's true. I mean, the cost of living is affordable. Our community is so strong together, and it's awesome. It's Youngstown. We're alive.
I don't know how to follow that at all. I mean, you're absolutely right. We have a lot going for us, and that's only increasing and growing and getting better. Soon enough, that reputation that Youngstown has for being this crime-ridden city, it's not. It's going to go away.
I mean, if you weigh it, the good and bad, if crime's only bad we have had in our area, then this scale's flipping over backwards. I mean, it's coming up the other way because there's so much good in this area. Now, I was born in '81, so I got to see the struggle and the repercussions of it, the steel mill shutting down. I never really saw Youngstown at its height. And so, my generation, my goal is to lay that next foundation for this group. I know you guys are doing that with this project, the City U, great project. I just want to lay the next row of bricks. I want to start the foundation of this next generation and make sure that our future is secured and Youngstown's still standing and surviving on the map. I mean, going through the 80s and early 90s, you just saw the struggle, and you knew that, through history and through education, you're going to learn that everything that falls in the valley peaks back up. So, Tressel brought the new era to Youngstown State football. He started to bring these championships back. We had a basketball team through Mickey Mona's Youngstown Pride. They were a championship team, and then every program that athletic-wise is coming through this area, they're bringing some type of title, and it's, like Cleveland, we do this for Cleveland. Cleveland wins. That's awesome to see another Ohio team win a championship like the Cavs did in their struggle, but they started saying this is for Cleveland. Well, Youngstown's been doing that for every year. Everybody that wins in this area always contributes success to this community because of the hard working and the dedication of all our citizens and community and how strong we are.
And you take that mentality, with you on the road.
Absolutely.
And that helps build your reputation, helps build the reputation of Youngstown, and you're practicing what you preach. But ultimately, like you said, regardless of it being a sport, a business, or even a painting, it doesn't really matter what it is. It's that the hard work yields its own rewards, and Youngstown is that hard work personified. If there's one thing to take away through a stranger's experiences in this city, it's that.
Right.
Also the good food, but that kind of goes without saying. It's that hard work, and more to that point, you guys, at least financially with your team, you're always the underdogs. You're not dealing with like these multi-million-dollar budgets, and there's something really freeing about that. You don't need that. Think about how hard some of those teams probably have to work to get that multi-million-dollar budget. And that's great for them if they get it, but they may work 3 or 4 times harder than you to get it. And what you're saying is, we don't need that. We've got what we need, and we make the most of it. In fact, we make more than the most of what we got, and that, I think, perfectly reflects the mentality of this community.
You hit it right on the head. I mean, that's what Youngstown's all about. Nothing's given in the city. LeBron said it, nothing. We're included in Northeast Ohio. Nothing's given, everything's earned, and that's a great public statement to make, and that's our motto here in Youngstown. Nobody has ever given anything in this area, and whether it's a band, we're all paving the way for the future too. If some band comes through the area and gets, recognized nationally. I mean, Bruce Springsteen got a song about Youngstown, other than Jersey, and I guess the streets of Philadelphia.
Yeah.
Who else has a song by Bruce Springsteen, one of the greatest rock icons of all time? I mean, that means something to the city, if anything. I mean, that this guy comes to Youngstown and does a concert, and he's keen on our past and just has this love for music's big coming out of this area. We got a lot of musicians that were, Grammy Award-winning artists to come out of this area, and it's just like we're waiting for the next person or next business to drop so we can let these other businesses get the spotlight too and get the credit they deserve.
Absolutely. You're being out there and certainly figuratively and perhaps literally being a champion of and for Youngstown is really helping change that perspective. We're not, a collapsed steel town anymore.
And they know it too.
Yeah. They know it, and it's all of our, I think, collective responsibilities to maintain that we are not that. We are something brand new. And where we're going is really exciting.
We owe it to the city. I mean, the city's given us so much that it's our responsibility and duty to put it on the line for the city and our community every day when we go out there. Whether we're on a track or not, it's our duty to get it done for the city. And I mean, I just love Youngstown. My family loves Youngstown. We wouldn't, we could take our race operation anywhere and stick it and be successful, but this is us. We're Youngstown.
And you know what? Even if you did, had you moved away, you may be a quarter of what you are now.
Right, and everybody that leaves Youngstown, given Youngstown, they always use Youngstown as an out. Well, I get to get out of the city, it doesn't do this or that. I guarantee you, a year later, you run into them at the mall, you run into them downtown. Hey, you back. They all
welcome back.
Welcome back. So everybody that always leaves always comes back. It's because they miss the family environment, they miss what this community offers. And, you walk up and down the streets, there's so much beauty and effort in this area, just downtown alone. People that haven't been downtown in 10, 15 years, we bring them downtown and they're like, wow, I didn't know this exists. It's just getting that avenue to get these people downtown. I think, Mike McGiff is doing a great job with event planning downtown, and the mayor's doing a great job to get these people involved and get these people back downtown. And that, I don't know if, some of the stuff I know about what's on tap for the city through the City U project and what the city has on deck the next couple of years is just incredible. So everybody better hold on. It's going to be a wild ride.
Hold on tight. And, allow me to paraphrase one thing that I'm really getting across thematically. It's that Youngstown's always home.
Right.
But it's always so much more than home.
It is.
Yeah. Ryan, I want to thank you for joining us today and chatting a little bit about who you are and what it is that you do. If people are interested in finding out more about your program, the racing, etc., where should they go?
Okay, we're on all the social media platforms. Some are more relevant than others, but on Twitter, because of the handles you're shortened, is Martino Racing. And then on Instagram, Facebook, and YouTube, you can find us at Martino Motorsports. And if you need to find me, you can find me in Youngstown.
And down at the courthouse.
Yeah.
Well, thanks again, Ryan, and we'll check in with you again sometime soon and see where that goes.
Look forward to it.
And good luck with the rest of your races. I hope you destroy the competition, and if you don't, I certainly hope that vengeance will be yours next season.
Really appreciate it.
All right, thanks again. That's it.